This is why I regret being a welder. My welding career started out early on when I was 18 years old. And boy, let me tell you what, when I thought about being a welder, I thought welders were like greasy, overalls, like eat with dirty hands kind of people, hot, sweaty, sparks, fire. Those are all the things that kind of came to mind when I was thinking about going into the welding industry. But I knew they made a lot of money. And so I was willing to kind of overcome all that in order to get that money. The big thing is I was in for a real shock because things were not as I thought they were when I decided to join the welding industry. But it is gonna be hot. It is gonna be sweaty. You're gonna get grinder dust down the back of your neck, and it's gonna be itchy, and you're gonna stink, and you're gonna be tired. And it's gonna take a lot of perseverance, a lot of grit, and you're gonna have days that you just don't know if you got what it takes. But if you keep pushing and you keep persevering, eventually, through reps and doing things over and over, you're gonna learn how to weld. And then you get out in the field, and it's a whole different ball of wax. You gotta take a welding test. You get some anxiety about that first welding test, especially because, deep down in our minds, we're like, do I have what it takes? That question just kind of keeps coming back. Do I have what it takes? Do I have what it takes? And when you smoke that first welding test, you get on that job, you start making X-ray quality pipe welds. There's an incredible sense of accomplishment that comes when you totally crush that. And that's what I felt when I first got out there. I started my career in Oregon, right on the banks of the Columbia River. It's just outside of this little town called Cathlamet. We built an ethanol plant there. Lots of carbon and stainless. I had a great time. Honestly, learned a ton. And I got to meet people from all over the country on that job that had come in to do their part. We had welders and pipe fitters and electricians and carpenters. But one of the things that keeps coming back is the welder is at the very end of the line. So in order to build a plant or a pipeline or any construction project, we've got to do some dirt work first. We got to pour some concrete. We put the steel up. We set the vessels. We set the big MCC houses, whatever it is, and then we start running the piping. And a lot of times the pipe's prefabricated, it gets put in, bolted up, hangers, and then all that work gets done and it comes to the welder. The welder makes these welds, right? Final tie-in connections. It's the last person really to do their work. And so as every craft and trade does their portion, if they're a little bit off, quarter inch here, quarter inch there, what's the big deal, right? It's just quarter inch. But what happens is then as each person just kind of gets it close enough, right? It gets all the way up to the welder. Now the welder's always got to fix everything. And it kind of causes this culture in the welding community where everybody's like a little bit jaded maybe. And I think it just comes from always being kind of the last person there, the last person in line that's got to make everything work and make it look pretty. And we're the only trade that has to test to get on the job. And then, if you're on an X-ray job where they're X-raying all the welds, every single day you got to step up to the plate and you got to hit a home run. Because if you make a bad weld, you make 3 bad welds and they're going to fire you. That's just the way the industry works. And so there's a lot of pressure, it takes a lot of skill, showing up every day with a super positive attitude, knowing that you're the guy that's at the very end of the line, kind of handling all the crap, if you will. That's why they pay us so much money. And so if you're like a person that isn't gritty or doesn't love like the high sense of accomplishment, if you're not a person that wants to do hard things, that wants to just crush it and dominate, the welding industry, it's not going to be for you. Go be an electrician, go be a carpenter, maybe a plumber. There's a lot of trades out there. They're all suffering for people. The welding industry it's not an easy place to be in, but it's where you can make huge money because of the high level of skill and the high level of commitment and the high level of grit that's required to make it in this industry. Come Friday, when you get that paycheck, you don't feel bad about making way more money than everybody else on that job. You just don't feel bad about it because you had to go to greater depths, greater lengths to get there. A couple other things that is hard in this industry is you're probably going to travel. A welder goes where the work is. Now, I've done a lot of traveling. I've traveled all across this country and got to go to almost all 50 states. I love that. I get to meet all these people. I get to see all this different culture and history, and I love learning new things and meeting new people. But maybe that's not for you. Maybe you just kind of want to hunker down and you want to, stay within a 1 mile radius of your house. If that's you, welding's not your place. You're going to travel as a welder, most likely, unless you live at one of these big metropolitan areas. I really enjoyed that, but not everybody does, and when you're on the road, I'm not going to travel 3 states away to work 40 hours. Like, I'm going to travel 3 states away, but I'm going to work as many hours as I can while I'm there. And everybody that's traveling 3, 4 states away, 5 states away, everybody has that same mentality. So these welding jobs, very rarely do they work 40 hours a week. It's 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 hours a week. Let's cram it all in. Let's work 6 10s. That's 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. You get 1 day off, little R&R, go to church, take care of yourself, relax, the day of rest, and then you're right back at it going again, 6 days a week. So, and when you're traveling, you're going to miss a birthday. You're going to miss a baseball game. You're going to miss some of those things. And I had a really strong network of support. When I was working 60, 80, 90, 100-hour weeks, my wife always packed my lunch, always called with support, always, hold the home front down, kind of pioneer woman type stuff. And that's what it takes. Like me personally, I want to know that I've spent my life on a worthy cause. I've done something impactful. I want to work hard. I want to crush it. I want to dominate. That's who I am. And so it takes a lot of perseverance. It takes a lot of grit. You got to get a lot of joy and energy out of doing hard things, I guess. That's what it takes to make it in this industry. If that's not you, look at a different trade. All the trades are needed. So those are a few things about the welding industry. What I regret, what I love the most. Ultimately, I love challenges. I got lots of grit. I love doing hard things. And so the welding industry turned out was perfect for me. It was not a place that was greasy, dirty, kind of low skilled. These people that just kind of that's all they had was welding. It's a very incredibly high skill, detail oriented OCD people that make it big, because you got to be at the top of your game to make it in this industry. It's not for everybody. If you got a trade that you think compares, let me know. Drop it in the comments. What do you guys think? What trade are you in? What do you recommend young people go to? And if you like this content, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with a buddy. Let me know what you think.